Right, back with another video. Hope you've all had a good Christmas and had a lovely time with family and got the gifts you wanted to receive. Now I'm going to do a video today about head units and fake software on head units. Obviously I've got my Eon head unit. This was sold to me as having 3 gig of RAM, 32 gig of memory. Now I've already checked it and that is what it's running. But in the past I've had head units that have been sold to me running Android 10 and they're not, they're running Android 8. Or you see the advertiser. I've never had one that's running the wrong amount of RAM and ROM. Like I've always said, you want a minimum of 2 gig of RAM, 32 gig of ROM. 1 and 16, you don't want them. They're slow, they're laggy. You can't install very much on the head unit, many apps, without them freezing and causing problems. So if you go onto the likes of AliExpress, which I'll just get up on my head unit, where are we? Google Chrome, there. If we go on here and search oh no, that's that random number generator, AliExpress. So obviously I'm using AliExpress as an example because you've got so much choice on there as to different head units. Let's just let this load up. So let's search at the top. Why is it not letting me search? Accept cookies. Android head unit. Let's go for 9-inch because we know that the Volkswagen ones are 9-inch. Let's let that load. So you go on to AliExpress. So you got one here for a 9-inch unit, £69.23. So let's have a look at the spec of that. Now this is one for a Renault rather than Volkswagen. So they're selling this as an 8-core, 8 gig of ROM, 128 gig of RAM. Now you're not going to get that for that price. They are going to have a list of different ones. So their first head unit they've got. So the thing with AliExpress is you go on and you think you're getting a bargain and you're not. Had the radio terrible thing. It has works very well. So you've got all these choices, but how do you know the difference between that one that's £68 and the more expensive ones with the bigger memory? So this one, how much is this one? Can't see a price. Let's just add it to the cart and then we might be able to see the price. The screen's not being very responsive because it's AliExpress. They don't. Right. I can't see where the price is on that one. Cart. Add to cart. Add to cart. Right, so they're selling that at £323, 32 pence. But I can't see the spec of it. Let me just have a look here. Pop-up blocked. It's gone back to the 6923 one. But basically the point I'm trying to get to is, maybe later, how do you know that what you're receiving, the difference between that one and that one, is this one, 8-core, 8 times 128. Now, like I say, I've had units in the past that have been running different software, different Android versions to what was advertised. And that's what they use to entice you in. Oh, we're running Android 10, we're running Android 11 for this bargain price. I've seen some today via YouTube that are advertising Android 12 on their head units for £180. Now, even the likes of your Extrons, your Eons, and the big names aren't selling units with Android 12. The maximum you can get from these big companies is Android 11. And so they're the Android 11 units. The Android 11 version of the Eon, the R53, is over £100 more expensive than the Q53. So if you want to check the spec of the head unit that you've received, you might be unaware at first, but there's giveaways as to what it might be running. Like, how responsive is the screen when you search? Mine searches because that's moving with my finger, whereas some units you'll put your finger on the screen, move your finger, there's a lag and it will move. Now that's a sign, one telltale sign that unit isn't running as quickly as they advertise it to be running. So like I say, this one was sold to me as 3 gig of ROM, 32 gig of memory, and running Android 10. So what I do is this app, AID A64. You open that, and if you look on here, it tells you a lot of information about the head unit. So the installed RAM is 3. So this is running what was advertised. You can check your Android version by going here and clicking on Android. Oh, advert. So you click on Android. This is running Android 10, Quince Tart. CPU, you can check that. This is running an ARM Cortex A55, which funnily enough is the same core as in my Samsung phone that I'm using, except mine's 4 and it's got 2 other CPUs in the Samsung phone as well to speed it up. But you can check quite a lot of information on these. This is saying that it's got cameras built in, but it hasn't, because they've been removed because it's a Android head unit rather than a tablet. Your battery, again, this is irrelevant because it's running off the car battery. Display, are they selling you a screen that is the correct resolution? This was sold to me as 1280 times 720, and that's what I've got on the screen. What else did I notice on the CPU? It wasn't on CPU, was it on system? No, it's the total memory here, 27, and it was sold to me as 32. Obviously there's going to be bits that are taking up the memory because of data, but it's definitely not a 16 gig, because that would be showing about 14 or 15 there. Internal storage, yeah, 24 gig. It was sold as 32, but there's going to be stuff taking up internal storage, so that's the free space that is there. So that's the app, AIDA 64. Just download it on the Play Store and open it up, and it will tell you exactly what your Android head unit is running. And then obviously if it's not running what the seller advertised it as, it then gives you the information you need to go back to them and either get a refund because they're mis-selling products, or 2, there is no 2, that you can send it back and say, look, I want a refund. This isn't what you've advertised. So just be really careful when buying Android head units for any car, not just for Volkswagens, for any car. if it looks too good to be true, then it probably is. You're not going to get an Android 12 unit. You're not going to get an Android 12 unit at the moment anyway. They're still not producing them. But you're not going to get an Android 11 or an Android 10 unit for under £180. Yeah, about £180 would be your safe bet to pay. But you still need to go careful. Just because they state that it's Android 10 and it's this amount of storage and this amount of RAM, don't believe it until you've opened up that app and seen what it is actually running. So it's just it's sort of a caution video really on what to watch out for. And if you're not sure or not happy with the way the unit is running, download that app, get the information, and then you can go back to the seller and say, look, this is what it's running. They want to upsell. They want to tell you the false things that they're selling when they just want your sale. So you need that information to go back to them and tell them that they are wrong and you want a refund or a replacement that is running the correct software. I had an issue with a Pumpkinhead unit where they sold it to me as Android 10. This was, you go back through my catalogue, it's there. Fantastic unit, worked as it should, but it was running Android 8. They sold it to me as Android 10. Fair enough to them. They sent me out update stuff to update it to what it should have been. A lot of these companies, Chinese companies, they don't have the ability to send you updates because the updates aren't there. So just be wary when you're buying an Android head unit and find out what it is exactly that they are selling. If they won't tell you over messages and stuff like that, buy the unit. But if they are wrong, you've got every leg to stand on to send it back to them. So that's just a little video for you on what to watch out for, and I will catch you all in the next video. See you later.